Hey everyone, Crash and Crash Customs, Lake Havasu, Arizona. Guess what we're working on today? What? No, not this. More of this. More of this. Escalation. We got escalation here. Check it out. This middle intermediate piece, shaped, welded in, ground down, ready for black paint and seam sealer along the edges. Welded on the inside of the wheel well along here. This is supposed to be overlapped like it is here for a factory fit. So this is the heat and the penetration of the weld. This is actually the back side of the weld because I welded in the wheel well. So super good penetration there. Like I said, these pieces are they're ready for black. Some black paint, seam sealer like over here, and then we'll undercoat all this also. All sealed up. Seam sealer along all the edges. And sprayed nice and solid black satin, looks like factory. Now finally though, I can start fitting these outside skins. Finally, looking forward to that. Got the lower rear rocker piece tacked in, fitted nice how I want it. Starting to do this piece, drilling out the spot welds, and if you look, this outer to inner, man, there's a gap like it was never even spotted in. I mean, look at, can you see that? They're not even, they're not, this outer skin is not spot welded to the inner rocker. They hit it with spots, but it never connected. And that's why cars are built by robots now. But fortunately, the union guy kept his job. Well, I was correct with those spot welds from the factory never actually being spot welded to the inner rocker. There's no marks, no indications. So really, most of this lower rocker and quarter was loose on the inner quarter. This all looks like solid metal though. So I'm gonna clean this up both sides, make sure there's enough metal, thick enough metal to weld the new piece to. And look at this mess that they fixed in quotes. What is this that they, it's like some kind of, it's got, oh, there's a little bit of metal in that piece. So yep, some change to my rhythm here. I was planning on working from the back forward, so that meant I was going to do this piece next, obviously, but if this metal was cleaned up, you know, if you can tell from underneath, this is part of the forward rocker. So the forward rocker actually goes underneath this rear rocker section. Let me show you the new piece that I'm talking about. This is the new piece right here. So this piece here actually slides underneath the rear rocker, wheel well rocker piece. So I'm gonna have to cut that off. Cut this rusty piece off. She's opened up now, and a lot of the spot welds weren't spotted like back there, so it came off super easy. Here though, I knew this was bad from the other side. I'm hoping the bottom of this fender actually will unbolt. That's what I'm hoping. Pretty crusty in there, and these bolts need to come off so I can do this proper. Oh man, what the? It's gonna be a little dusty tear into that. So clean up the rest of these edges like I did here, straighten it, grind it down, and start fitting. And this mess, but the rest of this looks real solid. Did I say escalation? I'm pretty sure I said escalation. Here we are, escalation. Fender is off. It was not a 5-minute job. Not a 5-minute job at all to get that fender off. Inner structure here and loosening everything and pulling it forward, but it's off. It's off. But I had to take it off. You can see easier from this side, right here. That's definitely rusted through. So when this rocker gets replaced, it'll be replaced all the way into here. And this is pretty ugly too right here. It is double layer, but that inside is, it's crusty. So, oh yeah, look at, yeah. Yeah, that's how strong I am. So that's why the fender had to come off. I've been cutting and fitting and slicing and dicing that apart, but while I'm doing that, these are obviously the new pieces, and a lot of times new sheet metal has to be hammered and dollied, bent, tweaked to fit original tin, right? So you got to check that. But you also have to check the new tin from the same company to see if they are going to line up with each other, and that right here, different bend here than here, like pretty much the opposite of each other. So now I gotta bend that to match this, and this is like the correct bend to what I took off. So fitment, and more fitment. So not only was the angle wrong, which is right now, but from here to here, here to here, you can obviously see that's at least a 1/4 inch. These two are supposed to go together, from the same company. Come on. Let's see how bad it is under the carpet. I got the door sill out already. Have not lifted it. It ain't gonna be good though, the way they fixed it. Let's see. Oh, it's cratered. See the rivets? Rivets. Lots of rivets. Some screws. Got some screws in there too. Alright, I drew those rivets out. See if I can drop that panel that they made, in quotes, panel. You can see what we're working with now. They did a 90 piece of galvanized sheet metal to band-aid it. Let's say they were band-aiding it until they could do it proper. You know, find me and have me do it proper. So that's a brace. That's a cross brace. The rest of this, back of the rocker, I'm gonna have to do that next because it gets sandwiched in between this brace and the outer rocker. So put a piece in there. Super easy, super easy. Just took forever to get there. Inner rocker patch is in, fully welded, seam sealed, and inner I wire wheeled and rust converter. There was just real light surfaced rust on the inside. Backside right here, fully welded, looking right. Once there's undercoat on here, nobody will ever know. Also spot welded. These little factory pieces that were never spot welded originally, holes are drilled for the outer rocker to go on. This inner rocker is a thinner gauge than the new outer rocker, so welding like this piece to the thicker gauge, this will melt in a lot easier than if you were trying to do it reverse, melt in the thicker metal to the thinner metal. Also rolled in seam sealer along here, which the factory never did. Just cleaner, it'll last longer. Final fitment, and then I can go on to the big piece. Well, it never goes easy. It never goes easy. Rocker piece is fitted, just clamped, not welded or spot welded in, but clamped, and is where it should be. Back piece, spotted in, clamped on the bottom, started from the back of the car, fitted it forward. Fender skirt in this opening fits beautifully, which, if you remember, it never fit before. So this piece fitting this, sandwiched in between that one, started from the back, that one started from the front. And do you see any problems here? Body lines, look at the shadows, look at the highlights. This to this, look at this. That's a big gap. That's a big gap. So part stamped wrong, or is the car itself wrong? Car itself ain't wrong. Inside the quarter looks like straight. We're just doing rust repair. This wasn't ever punched in an accident and screwed up the positioning of the body lines. So do you know what has to happen now? This needs to be moved back. This is where it should be. Like I said, the fender skirt fits perfectly. I worked from the back forward. So slice and shorten and weld back together. That's like at least 3/8 of an inch, maybe half an inch. I'll measure specifically with a better device than my finger, but not fixing that with filler. Main lower rocker all welded in, ground down smooth, ready for the next step, which is right here. You remember when I poked through, this was actually 2 layers. This rocker layer and then this cowl was outer layer. It was all rotted out, had to come out. So this little curved piece with a couple 90s, that will go right in there. Spot welded at the bottom like the factory. Probably more spot welds than the factory, but can't have too many spot welds. Lower cowl piece was fitted, welded in, ground down, done. This lower rocker, same thing, is done. There's a little bit of cleanup on the back side I want to do, but really it's done. Rear piece tacked in along the top, not the bottom. I'm probably going to spend some time and commit to more of finishing that. This piece fitted along the bottom, this line perfectly with the forward rocker, and the wheel well opening is great. I got to trim just a little bit off of there. You can see that, maybe just a 1/16 sliver, get a better gap. But this is still, that's still an issue. I haven't resolved that. I'm gonna have to slice this and shorten it, bring this back a little bit. That's where I'm gonna leave this one for the 1954 Ford Victoria Crestline. I still have a ton of cutting, welding, and grinding to do, more panel replacement. Other side, I got floor pans to fix now too. That got added to the list. So please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll keep bringing you weekly content on everything that's going on in the shop. Thanks.